paid attention to that. Otherwise, I would have missed that. Okay, so this is how it goes. Now, let's say if food available now, then it satisfies hunger. Bingo, that's good. But if food turns out, just example, to be, let's say, poisoned, okay, then actually food, poisoned food in this case, satisfies hunger, but ends my life. So what does this mean? This very simple example, to me, from the process of thought, it means the current act, which is having having food to satisfy or to quell hunger. Let's call it this way, to quell hunger. Okay, may lead to some negative consequences in the future. And I brought the example, the very solid example, which nobody can argue against, that this has poison, it has cyanide, it can kill, which means it can end my life. It could be something simpler. Food can be, let's say, rotten or spoiled, so it makes me sick, makes me suffer. So in other words, the current act, so there is here, I establish a correlation between current act, which is, act means it's the combination between life need and supplying the material, and I will call it the material because it's matter, supplying material for this food. There is a correlation, okay, and this correlation shows dependence of the current act now on what could happen in the future as a result of the act. With this example, now with this example, I can generalize it. Today, maybe I'm talking to someone, just talk. Why the talk? There is for curiosity, and the curiosity is an emotional status of me. But it turns out that talking to this person leads, maybe in 1 month or 2 months or in the future, that someone is going to question me about the relation between me and this person. This person happened to be dangerous for the security of a certain country or a certain entity, then I could be in trouble. So there is a correlation. So the correlation between acts that take place now and what could happen based on these acts is definitely there. So I cannot exclude that from my thought. If I want to think about my current life, it means I have to see the relation between this current life and what comes after. And I can do that in a graphical term as I have done in the past. So this is here some current activity, act, event, what have you. This is something in the future, let's say after the event or the act. And this after, it can be 1 minute, it can be 1 hour, it can be 1 day, it can be 1 year, 2 years. It can be as long as you can think in the future, can go in the future. What is this here? Oh. So I can say here, how long in the future let's say as far as the impact can happen. In other words, this says could be 1 hour, 1 day, 1 year, or even after life, after current life, if there is one. That's why if someone is going to talk to me, and after I have come to the conclusion that, oh, and of course, just remember that all my current acts and events can have an impact on my life later on. Someone is going to tell me, look, you have just eaten a food, and this food is going to be to haunt you or come after you even after you die. I said, wow, after I die, I lose all my life. But then he will try to convince me, try to bring me. No, no, no. Even after you die, you come back and you will be accountable for it. For example, from our cases, let's just do some cases here. Let's say eating pork, which is haram. And I stay in this issue of food, or drink alcohol. These are just things that can, now drink alcohol can take place 1 hour after you drink. You become drunk and probably you will spoil your life or get in trouble while you are being drunk. It's not only in the hereafter, but in our case, it's in the hereafter. What else? You may have illegal or what I would call it, prohibited sexual relations. Let me be blunt with this, okay? And so on. So these are just examples where now all of these probably, I'm not sure about the pork, but this one and this one, it can have an impact even in this life, because this you may be somehow you get in trouble, you may get disease. This one you can get drunk, you can again get diseases and pains. So you could suffer because of these acts. So these are just examples that shows If I am serious about providing a thought about my life, I have to make sure that I am thinking not only about this life, I'm also thinking about what comes after. By the same token, so there is a relation here. And this relationship between what's current and after, it can be termed in many terms. The impact, which can be positive or it can be negative. So this is how long as far as the impact can happen. And I can say the impact, it's not necessarily negative. Impact can be positive or negative. Like in these cases, I brought the negative impacts. But let's say if you give someone a help, give me a hand, there is a time when I give you a hand, maybe in 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 days, month, year or so. This help that I provided you, it turns out that at some point of time, you come and help me in a very desperate situation because of what I have just done. So it's can be both positive and negative. It doesn't have to be negative. But usually the negative ones are really very appealing because it shows that's what drives many activities, is the pain that you can suffer or the negative consequences. So this is the future. Now, I can do also with the same example something before the event or act, something that happened in the past that could very well impact my current actions and have a consequence on it. For example, staying in the realm of the food and the hunger example, what if this food that I am eating now, it was cultivated and raised in an environment with, let's say, with polluted water. Okay, so there was a time when this food that I am eating now, the vegetables or the animals, like remember the case when they had the disease about the mad cows, they call them, I'm not sure what's the scientific name for it. It was a case where it turned out that these cows or these cattle were fed by certain food, which leads to certain irregularities in the meat of the cattle. So this is here, the case is, what if the food being used is, let's put, for example, stolen. Somebody stole it and therefore it can impact me, or raised with polluted water, or raised with bad supplements, just like the one that happened with the cow diseases. What if? Definitely, this will have impact on the act I am taking now, and the consequences can occur in the future, which is I already established that I have to understand what's going to happen for me in the future if I eat this food. If it's a regular food, it's a good food. I bought it with my own money and it's not stolen and it's not polluted and then it's good. It satisfies the hunger as well as it will not haunt me in the future. So with this, here, let me show the examples here, which I just said. For example, polluted, stolen, can be what else I will say? Polluted, stolen, I'll call it irregular, irrigation or feeding, whether it's animals or any food for that matter. Okay. So that leads me to the conclusion, which is some conclusions. My thought about my current life, which is, again, one more time, the acts used to satisfy my needs. Now, with the needs, I mean both organic as well as the non-organic, which I call them the instinctual needs. Instinctual needs, as we said, the instinct of survival instead of the kind instinct of the worship. All of these needs are, that's what my life is. Any human, any person, his life is nothing but there are certain needs that you have to take care of and certain drives that come from your instincts that you have to take care of. And it does matter for anyone that wants to provide a thought is to really understand how my current act is related, the correlation here. Okay, this require thoughts about. Number one, of course, the first thought which I need to understand is current life itself. Current life, what is my current life, which I am talking about? The current life which is I have just described here. This is my life as an entity that has life that grows. Current life itself means my inner life which grows, survives, or terminates. In parentheses, dies. The life itself, and this current life, and then the material, and that, of course, what does life here, the life that grows, survives, terminates, it is manifested in terms of needs, instincts, drives. Of course, I will talk about this in a second. All of these needs, in order for me to eat, it provides a drive, and so the hunger becomes a drive rather than just need. Then the material beings, which can be used to fulfill the needs. And then, so this is my current life itself, the material beings. And also there is one more important thing which I have not given it enough attention, is the concern here is about the life itself, the life of me as a human now, not as a plant, not as an animal, not as an instinct, but as a human. That's why we talk about the human. And the distincting factor here is, besides the needs, the drives, the emotions, the life itself, the human has one more factor. And this factor is the thinking facility, which we are talking about, which is the mind. So that's what distinguishes the human now, because we are talking about the human. So why the human is so different? Because the human has thinking facility, and here in our with our thought process here, it's being raised by a human, which is, so that's it has a thinking facility. That's why we raise these questions. I don't know of any animal that raises the question, if you provide it with a type of food or something to play with, what consequences could happen in the future, or what had happened in the past that allowed this type of thing to be offered to an animal. That's not my concern. Could be, it could not be. I'm not concerned about the jinn. Once I know that they do exist, I'm not concerned about the angels. What is it that bothers them? We are concerned about the human. So these are the three issues: the current life, which has all the stuff that we are talked about, the material things we are talked about, and then the life we are talking about a human, because this is the human. And as I have shown a few seconds ago, is the correlation between all of these mentioned above and two things: past and the future. I need a correlation, and that's which is here. This is my current life, current activities, and this is, I will call it here, the human life. Human life has all of these issues: the events, the acts, etc., and the eating, the drinking, the fighting, the getting married, having children, worshiping, all of this is the current life. Why? In the past, and what's going to happen. So what I am doing now, why I am doing, or what had happened in the past, and why I am able to do this now, and what's going to happen in the future. So these W's, WWW, is so here I would say what's happening Now, what is the relation with the past, and what is the impact in the future? So this is www here. These three W's are the ones that we are concerned about. So now, in a nutshell, I come and okay. Now, what I was going to say here is the fundamental thought now, which I can state as a fundamental thought. Okay. What is my current life about? What had happened in the past, which has direct relations to my presence, to my present life? What could happen in the future in relation to my current life? So it's all about my current life. So that's the idea here, is we need to we need to find this is my current past and the future, and the relations between these. As well, I would add this here, and at some point of time we will find this necessary to understand. Not necessary now, that's not big deal now. What is important now is that I need to provide a fundamental thought about these issues. And these fundamental thoughts are the ones that solves, I will call it my mystery or mysterious issues. Okay, so here I will say these will solves a mysterious question for humans. So that's the question. Now, in fact, you have probably seen this before. Provide me a thought about my current life, provide me a thought about the past, provide me a thought about the future. Sometimes we will bring this in the issue. The people, they ask, they say the real mysterious question for the human is, where did I come from? Why I am here? Where I will end up in? Now, to be very thoughtful on this issue, to provide thought, in reality, if someone is going to ask me a question, come, let's think about where did you come from? I said, it doesn't bother me. Where am I ending up? It doesn't bother me. I'm not obliged to think unless I am a philosopher or I like thinking. Oh, okay, let's talk about it. Let's discuss. But in reality, this issue of what I call the mysterious thought, the thought that no one can escape, even though you may not organize it in the manner we are organizing it, everyone is concerned about my food, my drinks, my thoughts, my survival, my life, my work. Everybody is naturally, without being pushed, will have thoughts, whether these thoughts are well constructed or not, and will be concerned always about, oh, had I only attended a university and got a degree in medicine or engineering or IT or science or then today I would be living much better life. That's natural. Oh, I did something good in my past. I was able to obtain good grades. I went to the proper, to the good university and good college, good departments. I had a valid and good degree, and therefore today I am doing something excellent. And this excellent thing is going to impact how I am going to raise my children in the future. Natural. This is very natural. So it's a thought, and it's a continuous. It's a daily thought. It's almost everywhere. This is just another example, like the one I gave previously about, oh, today many people